Okay. Let's start on any meditation pose of your choice. You can sit seated, cross-legged on like a blanket or a pillow, or you can lie down on your back. Just start to ground into your sit bones or on your back, resting your eyes, shoulders relaxed, palms by your side, and start to slowly inhale and exhale through your nose and your mouth. You just want to remember with breathing in yoga, you want to take your time filling up through your belly, up through your chest, and then exhaling out completely. There's no rush. We want to avoid breathing into the chest. I wanted to introduce a breathing exercise. It's called the box breath. So we're going to inhale in through our nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can continue on with this breath exercise or decrease or increase your breath counts. We'll breathe for a couple more rounds. Just remember to stay in the present moment. Anything that happened today or yesterday, put that aside. We'll take one more. Inhale in, filling up completely, and then exhaling out through nose or mouth. So let's all find our way to a cross-legged seated position. I'm going to make sure our shoulders are pulled down and we have a long spine. We'll start a little warm up in our seat. So inhale, sweep our arms up tall, bring our hands to heart center, and then exhale, hands to heart center. So we're going to flow through this motion a couple times. So inhale, sweep our arms up tall, palms together, exhale, hands to heart center. And then one more time. Inhale, sweep your arms up tall, bring our palms together, exhale, hands to heart center. And then release your hands by your side. Inhale, sweep your arms up tall. Exhale, twist to the right. So gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale, tall arms. Exhale, twist to the left, gazing over our left shoulder. So we're going to flow through these motions. So inhale, tall. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, tall. Exhale, twist to the left. One more time. Inhale, up tall. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, tall. Then exhale, twist to the left. And then inhale, up tall. Exhale, release your arms down to your side. And let's find our way to our tabletop position. You can place, if you used a blanket, put that aside or whatever you're sitting on. And let's find our tabletop. So make sure your wrists are directly under your shoulders, knees directly under hips. So you want to make sure we have a long spine. So from here, we're going to do it's like a different variation of our cat and cow flow. So on our inhale, we're going to rise up to our knees, arms up tall. Exhale, hands to the mat, spine curls up, head drops for cat. Inhale, belly drops, head rises for cow pose. Exhale, hip shift back, arms extend long for child's pose. Inhale, rise up to your knees, arms up tall. Exhale, hands to the mat, spine curls up for cat. Inhale, belly drops, head rises for cow. Exhale, child's pose. Do that one more time. Inhale, rise up tall. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow pose. And then exhale to child's pose. So let's hold our child's pose here. You can keep your knees together or bring your knees wide with your big toes to touch. Resting your forehead on the mat or on a block. And just continue to breathe into your belly and then exhaling out completely. And then from here, we'll walk our hands off to the right of our mat for a side stretch. And we'll walk our hands off to the left side of the mat. And then hands back to center to a child's pose. And then making our way back into tabletop. So from our tabletop, I'm going to do a diagonal view here since my space is not very wide and I kicked the door on the closet. So we're going to lift our right arm forward like we're shaking somebody's hand. And then we'll lift our left leg straight behind us. So we're in a like this long plane. It's called a spinal balance. So we'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. We'll do the other side. So left arm raises up like we're shaking somebody's hand, and then extending our right leg up straight behind us, long spine. And we'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. Back in our tabletop. So we're going to make our way up to standing. So from our tabletop, let's tuck our toes under, lifting our hips up tall for our first downward facing dog of class. So check in on your alignment, make sure your fingers are wide, feet are hip distance apart. You have a long spine from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And remember that your knees can be as bent as you need them to be. You can start to pedal out your heels like you're walking your dog, shaking your head, yes and no. Just continuing to breathe. You can use that Ujjayi breath if that is in your practice, or you can just breathe regularly, but just remember to take your time with your breath. There's no rush. We'll take one more inhale in, filling up, and then exhaling out completely, making our way back into a downward facing dog. And then from here, we'll tiptoe our way up to the top of the mat. Feet are hip distance apart, and we'll grab opposite elbows, relaxing our head and our neck into ragdoll pose. So you can sway side to side. Remember to keep a bend in your knees. Take one more inhale in, filling up, and then exhale out completely, releasing our hands. And then on our next inhale, we're going to curl our spine up one vertebra at a time. Head comes last. Into our mountain pose, shoulders down, palms are facing forward. Remember, our feet are hip distance apart. So in our mountain pose, we're going to do a couple side stretches here. So inhale, sweep our arms up tall. bringing our palms together. And then exhale, side bend to the right, keeping our hips square. And then inhale, tall. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, up tall. Let's release our palms. So our arms are extended up tall in our high mountain pose. And then on our exhale, we're gonna bend at our elbows and then lifting our chest up for our little back bend. Making sure our hips aren't shifting forward too much. And then inhale up to high mountain pose. Then from here, we're going to do a half sun salutations. So from our high mountain pose, exhale, hinge at our hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift with a tall spine, crown of your head to your tailbone. Exhale, forward fold. Then inhale, swan dive up with a flat back, high mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. Do a couple more. So inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll do one more. So inhale, sweep your arms up tall, high mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, shins or thighs. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up, high mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're going to introduce some new poses here, our little slow flow here. So from here, you want to start off in your mountain pose where your feet are hip distance apart. And then from here, you want to sink into your sink into your heels, sweeping your arms up tall. So this is chair pose. So you want to remember to keep a long spine from the crown of your head to your tailbone, slightly tucking your tailbone under. So keep sinking into your heels and just keep with that breath. And then on our next exhale, we'll keep that squat motion and then sweep our arms behind us for airplane chair, or you'll hear me call it as chair plane. So you want to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Pretend you have a beach ball behind you, keeping your shoulders pulled down. And then on your next inhale, we'll sweep our arms up tall to high mountain pose. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, feet step back into our downward facing dog. This is what happens when my mat's too close to the wall. I have to adjust my hands and feet. So from our downward facing dog, we'll inhale, right leg lifts to three-legged dog. So from here, you can stay here, or you can start to bend your right knee and open up your right hip for a scorpion downward facing dog. Your right foot's flexed. You can start to roll your ankle and then reverse your motion. And then inhale back into three-legged dog, and then exhale, right foot steps through to our runner's lunge, and then we'll drop that back knee for our low lunge. So you can grab your blocks if you'd like as an option. They're here to support your hands on any level. So in our low lunge, we want to make sure our left leg's straight behind us. And you can, with your right leg, you can start to walk your right foot forward a little bit. And then our hands are on our block or in the mat. And then on our next inhale, we'll shift our hips back, straighten that front leg so that our right toes are facing towards the ceiling, guiding our forehead towards our right shin. Take a few breaths here. And then exhale back into our low lunge. And we'll just flow front to back at your own pace. Then our next exhale back into our low lunge. And and then we'll start to tuck our left toes under back into runner's lunge, and then rise up to our crescent lunge. So we're in our high lunge, adjusting accordingly, making sure our hips are facing forward, right leg's at that 90-degree angle, and we're lifting in the back foot. Sweeping our arms up tall, shoulders pulled down, strong arms, and just continue to breathe into your belly, and then exhaling out completely. And then on our next exhale, we'll open it up for warrior two. So remember that back foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat, right leg out that 90-degree angle. Tailbone slightly tucked under, then tee out your arms, gazing over our right hand. Shoulders pulled down. We want to make sure our arms are strong. And just continuing our breath. And then on our next inhale, we'll straighten that front leg. And then we'll sweep our right arm above our head. So it's like reverse warrior, but it's called reverse triangle. Only difference is our front leg is straight. So our left arm is by your side or binded behind you. So it's kind of the same kind of concept. We're stretching the right side of our body. And then on our next exhale, let's tee out our arms. You have the option to be in this wide stance, or if you want to step your back foot in a bit, about a foot, you can do that. So we're preparing for our triangle. So in our triangle pose, on our next exhale, we'll reach forward as far as we can go, shifting our hips back, and then like a tea kettle, that's how I like to describe it. You're tipping over, and our left arm is tall. Your right hand is either on your shin, or you can use a block on the inside of your right foot. So the key thing to remember is you want to spiral open your left shoulder. You don't want it to sag. If you feel like it's sagging, you've gone too far down. So you may have to come up a little bit. And if you want to have your right hand on your right inner thigh, that's okay too. We're all at different levels, and that's okay. Just gazing up at the ceiling. And then inhale, rise up into our warrior two. And then on our exhale, we'll cartwheel our hands down to a runner's lunge, and then stepping back into a downward facing dog. Let's hold our downward facing dog for a few breaths. I'll switch sides of the mat. Okay, from our downward facing dog, we'll inhale, left leg lifts to three-legged dog. Option to stay here, or you can bend that left knee, opening up the left hip for a scorpion downward facing dog. Keeping your left foot flexed, you can roll your ankle and then reversing the motion. Inhale, back into three-legged dog. Exhale, left foot steps through. Runner's lunge. And then we can drop that back knee for our low lunge, grabbing your blocks if you need them to support your hands. So you want to make sure your right leg straight behind you, left leg, you may have to walk your left foot forward a little bit, shifting forward into our hips. And then on our next inhale, we'll shift our hips back, straightening that left leg, left toes point towards the ceiling, and start to guide your forehead towards your left shin. This is called our half splits pose. Just continuing to breathe. And then on our next exhale, back into low lunge, placing our blocks aside, tucking our right toes under for runner's lunge, and then rising up on our inhale, crescent lunge. Hips squared off, left leg at that 90-degree angle, and we're lifting into our right toes. Continuing to breathe. And then on our next exhale, pivot on that back foot, left leg still at that 90-degree angle, and making sure our hips are square, teeing out our arms, gazing over our left hand for warrior two. Just maintaining your breath. And then on our next inhale, we'll straighten our left leg, sweeping our left arm above our head for reverse triangle. Remember, right arm by your side or binded behind you. And then on our next exhale, arms to a T, option to bring that back foot in a little bit for triangle. And then when you're ready, reach forward as far as you can go. And then triangle pose. Left hand on shin or block, making sure to open up that right shoulder. Right arm is tall towards the ceiling. Maintaining your breath. And then inhale, rise up to warrior two. You may have to adjust your feet. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Left foot steps back into our downward facing dog. And then from here, let's drop our knees into tabletop. So I want to introduce you to puppy pose, which is essentially a half downward facing dog. So from our tabletop, we'll walk our hands forward and then resting our forehead on the mat. Our hips are still lifted. If you need some support, you can place blocks underneath your hands. So you're feeling a nice shoulder stretch here. Take a few more breaths here. Take one more inhale in, filling up, and then exhaling up completely. Let's walk our hands back into tabletop, placing our blocks aside. And then from here, let's take child's pose. So let's take a wide knees, big toes to touch, arms extended long, forehead to the mat or to a block. Just take a few breaths here. And then on our inhale, let's walk back our hands back into tabletop. So we're going to find our way back up to a standing position and do some balancing poses. So from our tabletop, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. And then we'll start to walk our toes up to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up with a flat back, high mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, so we're going to do some standing poses here. I did it in this same little sequence in our last class, but we're going to slow it down a little bit. So let's find our mountain pose, feet hip distance apart. So we're going to come into standing staff. So we'll start to shift weight into our right foot, lifting our, so we're going to start to shift weight into our right foot, lifting our left leg up. So our left leg is bent, left foot is flexed. Option here, you can start to straighten your left leg, making sure your hips are square, arms by your side. And then on our next exhale, we'll start to sweep that left leg behind us. You may have to bend your leg again into airplane pose. So your left leg doesn't have to go very far behind you. So you're gonna make sure your hips are square, arms are by your side, palms face down. You wanna create a little cobra pose, so you're lifting your chest and gazing forward at a object that's not moving. So this is a nice little hamstring work here. And then on our next inhale, we'll rise back into standing staff, taking your time, sweeping our arms up tall, and then releasing to mountain pose, shaking it out. So we'll do the other side. Making sure our feet are hip distance apart, shifting into our left foot, and then lifting our right leg up into standing staff, right leg bent, right foot flexed. Option to straighten that right leg. You want to make sure your hips aren't shifting forward. And then on our next exhale, we'll sweep that right leg back into airplane pose, arms by your side, lifting our chest. Just flying away here. Just maintain your breath. If you fall out, you can get back up again. And then inhale, rise up to standing staff. And then exhale, release back into mountain pose. Let's make our way back to the mat. So inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, feet step back, downward facing dog. And then release into our tabletop. So from here, let's do some shoulder work. We'll do thread the needle. We've done this before. So in our tabletop position, you want to, on your inhale, sweep your right arm up tall, gazing up. And then exhale, sweeping that right arm under, resting your right shoulder and the right side of your head on the mat. So your left arm is either at a 90-degree angle. You can walk it forward or bind it behind you. Yogi's choice. And then on our next inhale, let's release, sweeping that right arm up tall, and then back into tabletop. Okay, we're gonna do the other side. So inhale, left arm lifts up tall. And then exhale, left arm sweeps under, resting our left shoulder and the left side of our head on the mat. So our right arm's at the 90-degree angle. You could walk your hand forward or bind it behind you. Take one more inhale in, filling up. Exhale out completely. Let's slowly unwind on our next inhale. And then exhale, release into tabletop. Let's find our way to a seat with our feet flat on the floor. So we're gonna do a little bit of ab work here. So from here, I'll do the side view here. We'll lower down into our forearms. So we're gonna do what's called a scissor ab exercise. So it's like the boat pose we've done before. So we'll extend our legs to like a V shape. Feet are flexed. And then from here, on our exhale, next exhale, we'll start to crisscross our legs down for 1, 2, 3, and then up on our inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale down for 1, 2, 3. Inhale up for 1, 2, 3. Keeping a strong core. Down for 1, 2, 3. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. And then one more time. Exhale down for 1, 2, 3. Releasing our feet. Let's release our back to the mat. And let's extend our legs and arms for a long body stretch or a good morning stretch. And then from here, let's bring our feet flat to the mat. And then with our knees bent, arms by your side. So we did bridge pose before, so we're gonna do like, it's called flowing bridge. So on our inhale, we'll press into our feet, lifting our hips up off of the mat and our back. And then arms lift up behind us. And then exhale down, one vertebra at a time, arms come down. And then inhale, rise up into bridge, arms back behind you, flowing at your own pace. This is a gentle little flow here for your back. We'll take a couple more rounds of our bridge flow. We'll do one more round. And then we'll make our way back down, or spine down to the mat, arms by your side. Let's bring our knees into chest. Let's rock from side to side, massaging the spine. So from here, let's find our yoga strap or your belt or your scarf. We're gonna go into our leg stretches, which is something I really love to do in this class. This is great, especially if you're active, running, hiking, or if you like to go spinning like I do. So grab your yoga strap. And then from here, let's keep our left leg bent, left foot flat on the floor. And let's lift our right leg up straight, placing your yoga strap on the bottom of our right foot. And we have both ends of the strap in our hands. So from here, with every little exhale, you want to start to bring your right leg closer to you. If you want to extend that left leg in front of you, that's okay as well. It's your preference. So here, you're going to feel a nice hamstring stretch. You want to make sure your arms are relaxed down by your side. You don't want to have tension in your shoulders. I have a long yoga strap, which is like super nice for stretches like this because I am tall. Because I know I have a shorter yoga strap and it doesn't work very well. Just continuing to breathe. You can do gentle movements with your leg. That's always a nice option from front to back, side to side. Just want to make sure you're feeling the stretch. Do a couple more rounds of breath here. Take one more inhale in, filling up, and then exhaling out completely. So let's bring both ends of the strap into our right hand. And then from here, we'll guide our right leg off to the right. You'll start to feel an inner thigh stretch. Go as far as you can go. You want the thing to make sure of to do is to keep your hips grounded into the mat and your back grounded into the mat. So you can take your left hand and press into your left hip to give you a little leverage here. And if you need to bend that right knee a little bit, that's okay too. And then on your next inhale, let's bring our right leg back to center. Let's transition the straps into our left hand and then guide our right leg off to the left. So we're going to feel an IT band stretch here. So you can tee out your right arm. Your right hip can come off the mat a little bit. And this is a really nice stretch. And you can feel it. And then on your next inhale, let's bring our right leg up to center, releasing our right foot. So we're going to do the other side. So remember, you can keep your right leg bent or extended in front of you, lifting our left leg up, placing the strap on the bottom of our left foot. Both ends of the strap in each hand. And just slowly, on every exhale, bring that left leg closer to you, feeling a great hamstring stretch. And you remember your right leg can be extended or bent. Grounding your hips into the mat. And then we'll slowly transition our straps into our left hand, guiding our left leg off to the left, feeling an inner thigh stretch, grounding our right hip into the mat. And then inhale, rise up to center, transitioning the straps into your right hand, guiding your left leg off to the right. You can tee out your left arm, gazing off to the left, feeling the IT band, a stretch on your left leg. And then inhale back to center, releasing the strap in your left leg. Let's hug both knees into our chest, massaging the spine, rocking side to side. And then from here, let's release both feet to the mat. We're going to do a half happy baby on each side. So from here, we'll lift our right leg up, right foot flexed, and we can grab the outside of our right foot or your ankle or the back of your knee. So we want to start to guide your knee towards your right armpit. Left leg can be bent or extended in front. And then release that right foot. Let's do the left leg, lifting our left leg up, grabbing either the outside of our foot, ankle, back of the left knee, guiding your left knee towards that left armpit. And then slowly release that left leg. And then from here, we're going to do a different variation of a supine twist. So we're cross our right leg on top of our left, and our right foot is flexed. So we can tee out our arms and then guiding our knees off to the left. So this is called like an eagle leg variation twist. So you want to make sure your shoulders are grounded into the mat, gazing up or off to the right. and inhale back to center. Let's switch legs. So we're going to cross the left leg on top of our right, teeing out our arms and then guiding our knees off to the right, gazing off to the left or up towards the ceiling, grounding our shoulders into the mat. And then release back to center. And then from here, let's release and cross our legs. And then from here, let's go into Supta Baddha Konasana. So it's the soles of your feet together and you open up your knees like a book. So this is a really nice inner thigh stretch. This is a great pose to start off with class or at the end. This is always an option to you. So just ground into your back and just take a few breaths here. If this is a little bit too intense on your inner thighs, you can use your blocks or pillows or blankets to support your knees. Another variation is just to bring your arms up above your head. Take a couple more rounds of breath here. Take one more inhale in, filling up, and then exhaling out completely. Let's just bring our knees up. So from here, we're going to either you can do legs up the wall or legs up the imaginary wall or waterfall pose. So remember with waterfall pose, you'll need your block. And to get into waterfall pose, you'll press into your feet, lifting your hips up, placing your sacrum on the block, and then lifting your legs up with your feet flexed. Or you can take legs up the wall. You just take that variation without the block up against the wall. Or if you don't have wall space, you can just do your little legs up the wall variation. Pretend there's a wall against your legs. And we'll take a few breaths here. This is a nice gentle inversion. Later on, as we progress through the semester, I'll teach you shoulder stand. This is a good way to prep you for that, especially with the block variation. I'll take a couple more breaths here. Take one more inhale in, filling up, and then exhaling out completely. If you're in waterfall pose, slowly bring your feet down to the mat, press into your feet, and then lifting your hips up off of the block and then releasing your block. If you're up against a wall, just slowly transition off to the side. And then from here, we find our way to our final rest of choice. So remember your options. You can take Shavasana on your back with your knees bent or legs extended in front of you, or you can take Shavasana in a fetal position or on your belly, or you can take a traditional seated meditation with you can sit on a blanket or a pillow or a block. And just start to find your final resting pose. Taking in your final practice, or your practice for the day, and doing a final check-in with your body from the crown of your head down through your neck, shoulders, arms, back, hips, legs, and feet. Today's meditation reading is again out of the Journey to the Heart book. I really like this one. It's called Value Your Connection to Truth. Trust what you know, not what you think you know, but what you know in your heart. We often know the truth long before we let ourselves see and believe it, long before we're ready to acknowledge it. For many reasons, fear, timing, and a myriad of issues, too long to list, we ignore and discount what we know in our heart. But the truth doesn't go away. What's true, what we know to be true, will nag at us and haunt us. And even if we try to run from the truth, our experiences will ultimately lead us back to it. Life may bring us many issues we want to run from. Issues are a challenge, but the real challenge we face is learning to trust ourselves and trust what we know to be true. Maybe someone once told us we couldn't be trusted. That's too bad. But what's worse is that we began to believe it and started to tell ourselves that too. Our heart, your heart can be trusted. Don't doubt it. It will inevitably connect you to what's true. Love yourself enough to trust what you know, then stay connected to the truth. And just continue on with your final rest, and I'll guide you out. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Start to awaken, and then find your way to a fetal position on your right or left side, using your arm or a block or like a blanket as a pillow. We'll spend a couple moments there. And then when you're ready, slowly make your way to a comfortable seated position, cross-legged, taking your time, grounding into your sit bones. We'll do one last cleansing breath together. So inhale, we'll sweep our arms up tall, bring our hands together. And this time we'll bring our thumbs to our third eye, which is between our eyebrows. The light in me, thank you for a great practice today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. And then rise up. Thank you so much for practicing today. It was good to see you all. Have any questions, let me know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good night.